Celebrating our stories and our heritage gives us a unique lens to look at farming, food culture, and community well-being. Veronika Nelson's experience interpreting her own family's story encourages curiosity about our environmental and cultural stewardship roles in the fields of Kansas Wildflowers. Welcome, Veronika.
Guess who the top private farmland owner in America is? Gotcha. It's not this guy. It's actually this guy. According to Forbes, on January 14th, Bill Gates owns the most private farmland in the country. You're laughing now, or at least I assume you are, because hilarious Nick Cage joke. But watch out, I'm just getting you in a good mood before it gets all sad and intense. Welcome to Talk 2020. I'm a Nelson. The Nelson family included Carl Nelson of Carl's Bar and Carl's Furniture Store on South Main. My grandparents' generation had over 1,000 acres between Arlington and Pretty Prairie. Last year, I became the owner of the remaining 10 acres. I inherited this land because my father was in a fatal accident coincidentally while driving to the farm. Words cannot describe my dad, Johnny. He was from a farm in Arlington. He loved Rocket Club and dismantling his parents' color television. Eventually, he was a single father raising a daughter. We cried over musicals like Cats and Phantom. We watched Stargate SG-1, and we laid concrete together. While settling his estate, I learned even more about him. My dad's story and my mother's story, like so many stories from today's rural America, are tragically riddled with chronic disease, cancer, farmer debt, and poor mental health. Reoccurring characters also include farming practices that are not sustainable and often directly cause or contribute to the chronic disease and cancer. It could also be argued that disease and cancer contribute directly to debt and mental health. I'm not a scientist and not that well-versed in technical farming knowledge, so to put this super simply, there's bad stuff in our environment. Sometimes it gets there because of how we farm. There's bad stuff in our food. Sometimes it gets there because of how we cultivate, store, transport, or dispose of our food. Bad things happen to us and people we love when there is so much bad stuff in our environment and therefore in our bodies. My dad lived in an unfinished basement in an unfinished house with mice on a dirt and cement floor. At the time of his death, next to his bed were piles of trash up to my waist, consisting of what he had been told were healthy granola bars, wrappers, and used insulin needles. The irony of a bright and giving son of a farming family dependent on the processed food that caused his diabetes, all of which complicating his overall health. After discovering the same chemical compounds in his cancer patients and in soil on farmland, physician Zach Bush began touring the country educating farmers on regenerative practices. Major takeaways from his workshops include the status of chronic disease, which is bad, as well as the connection between farmland water runoff, concentrations of harmful chemicals like glyphosate, and cancer. The USDA recognizes some of the most widely consumed meat products and processed foods in the U.S. as carcinogens, meaning they cause cancer, yet organizations like the American Heart Association receive fiscal support from companies like Oscar Mayer. Our food and our farming heritage are unprotected, and our families are suffering for it. It's useless to spend time and emotional energy placing blame on wealthy strategists who are out of touch with farms and farmers in our home. And also, it's way more fun lifting up the work of our regional all-stars and celebrating our own homegrown. There is unique and incredible work being done here, funny enough, in my family's hometown. Ethically sourced food can mean different things for different people. For me, good food ethics relate to the sustainability of production and kindness towards and consideration for all life involved. Basically, it shouldn't make us sick. It definitely shouldn't pass on poor health to our children, and it shouldn't cause damage to the environment at an unmanageable rate. In today's world, the resources necessary to produce ethical food are not widely accessible. Healthy culture can be defined in a variety of ways. In biology, culture is a verb, which means to maintain in an environment suitable for growth. In anthropology, I've heard it described as everything a generation of life contributes to the next generation. To create and maintain an environment to be suitable for growth, it helps to have different things with different skills and purposes and safety to try new things or to do things differently. A variety of plants in one area can make healthy shared spaces like tall plants, providing shade for smaller, less sun-resistant plants to flourish. The benefit of diverse culture is also represented in soil health by plant roots needing a variety of microorganisms that allow the plant to absorb essential nutrients, a variety of things living and working together with balance and sustainability. To my surprise, one of the most common questions at workshops and classes on farming and food culture isn't about techniques. Farmers ask about how their peers will respond to their new or different practices. They face isolation and ridicule in addition to other enormous factors that can threaten livelihood. Peer-to-peer resources and safe environments to try new and different things are essential in preserving our ability to grow and eat food on the earth. Standardizing cultural social exchange with formats like the SCARF model and active listening skills can help to create and maintain safe environments for growth. SCARF stands for status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness, and creates a theme of respect and trust. In listening both literally and figuratively by tuning into our environment, we can better understand and therefore better appreciate our own stories and the stories of our families and neighbors. The more informed we are, the better equipped we will be to make decisions on behalf of and advocate for our collective well-being. After watching the struggles of my father and learning more about the struggles of our family and our neighbors, of rural Americans and of all humans, I feel relief getting to work directly on the things that contribute to those struggles. In addition to the community work I get the opportunity to do through the Arts and Humanities Council in Hutch Rec, I also manage a small arts business known as WIM Productions. WIM functions as in a sub-organization as GROW, which aims to increase the accessibility of peer-to-peer resources and education opportunities to empower farmers, food producers, and entrepreneurs of all kinds to reclaim pride in their craft and connect them with resources to tell their unique story. Themes include reclaiming our commerce and crafts, celebrating unique heritage, and deepening our understanding of stewardship. An interesting microclimate of the humanities is an area commonly referred to as primitive skills. These can feature primitive heritage from European cultures, but largely depend on American indigenous practices. Plant identification is a common example, which includes identifying plants in their medicinal, edible, or utilitarian uses. Most medicine is derived from plants, though we've clinically studied very little of them. A teacher in one of these classes defined a weed as a plant that grows in a disturbed area, like after a fire or a tree fall, which can outcompete other plants and dominate the area and coincidentally make them more vulnerable to infection and disease. Sometimes a variety of plants will grow, providing shade for each other or trading nutrients by way of the soil. Sometimes together they create healthy, thriving fields of Kansas wildflowers.